you don't need to use rockets to do AI data centers into deep space from the moon. You can literally just shoot them like a railgun type of thing.
In June, Elon Musk was asked the most boring question in finance. Why are you taking your company public now? He answered by talking about the sun. 13 days ago, that plan stopped being a metaphor. There is now real hardware, a real chip supplier, and a real launch year. And underneath it sits a government filing asking for 1 million satellites. Not a million customers. 1 million satellites. Almost nobody played the part where he explains what the moon is for. So let's start in the room, because the room explains the answer. On June 4th, JP Morgan hosted the roadshow for the SpaceX public offering. 51st floor, 3,500 individual investors watching from 100 branches. Musk did not fly in. He joined on a video call from a room with a blurred window behind him. Jamie Dimon ran the questions. He had 10 of them. He opened by calling Musk the Edison of our time. Then he asked the only question that mattered to the people watching. Why now? Because SpaceX did not need the money. It had been cash positive since 2014, buying its own stock back rather than selling it. So the answer had to be something new. Here is how he started.
What's different about now is that it's a number of things, but we are embarking on a significant growth phase, like a capital growth phase, where we are going to put in orbit probably 100,000 satellites, probably over 100,000 satellites.
Today, there are roughly 10,000 up there. He is describing 10 times more. They are too big to launch on any other rocket on Earth. His chip team taped out 3 custom designs for them, 100 times the bandwidth. But communications was the small half of the answer. Then he changed subject.
And then we're also doing the AI data centers in space, which is another massive capital endeavor. But I think it'll be the primary means by which AI can be expanded. It's increasing.
The primary means, not a side project, not a moonshot in the marketing sense. He is saying the main way artificial intelligence gets bigger is by leaving the planet. To understand why, you have to hear the problem he thinks he's solving.
It's really difficult to build power plants on the ground. There are very few people who want a power plant in their backyard. So if we wanted to, say, double the electricity usage of the United States, which is on average about 500 gigawatts, we would have to build about twice as many power plants, which I don't think most communities are not super excited about that. But
500 gigawatts. That is the average draw of the entire United States. To double it, you would have to build a second America worth of power plants. And that is where the argument stops being about physics and starts being about people. So his conclusion is not to argue with the neighbors. It is to go where there are none.
Actually, if we go to space, we can go far beyond the electricity generation of Earth. In fact, this is going to sound crazy, but you could actually increase harnessed energy by a factor of 1 million and still be using much less than 1/1,000,000th of the sun's energy.
A factor of 1 million. He said it to a room of retail investors on a stock roadshow. The sun is 99.8% of all the mass in the solar system. In orbit, a solar panel never sees night, never sees cloud, never sees dust. So the argument is simple. The energy is already there. Nobody has gone to collect it. Which brings us to the part that is no longer talk, the paperwork. On January 30th, SpaceX filed with the Federal Communications Commission the request: authority for an orbital data center constellation of up to 1 million satellites, altitudes between 500 and 2,000 kilometers, 2 inclinations, and one of them is the detail. Sun-synchronous means an orbit that stays in permanent daylight. Each satellite carries roughly 100 kilowatts of computing. Launch 1 million tons a year, and you add 100 gigawatts of AI compute a year. 100 gigawatts a year is 1/5 of the American grid, added annually, in orbit. It asked the commission to waive the deadlines that normally force a constellation to be built on schedule, and it included no deployment schedule and no cost estimate. None. Then August 4th happened. SpaceX and Nvidia announced they are jointly building the compute payload. The satellite has a name now, Starmind AI-1. And the hardware inside it is not space hardware. That is the surprising part. It is a Vera Rubin rack, NVIDIA's Rubin graphics processors paired with its Vera processors. the same class of rack that goes into data centers in Texas and Virginia. 20 meters tall, a solar wingspan of 70 meters. 70 meters is about 2/3 the length of a Boeing 747. It sustains about 120 kilowatts of compute, peaking at 150. Prototype testing is targeted for early 2027, that is next year. And the stated end state is the number from the filing, up to 1 million of them. There is a detail in Nvidia's own history that makes this land differently. In March, Nvidia launched its space computing line with its own set of partners: Axiom Space, Kepler, Planet Labs, StarCloud. Sophia Space. SpaceX was not on that list. 5 months later, SpaceX is the payload. Nvidia's chief executive framed the whole category in one sentence. The final frontier, he said, has arrived. All of that is orbit. Now the part of the June interview that nobody clipped. Diamond asked about the bridge, Earth to the Moon to Mars. Musk answered that you do not need the Moon to reach Mars. And then he explained what it is actually for.
Because the Moon has no atmosphere and about 1/6 Earth's gravity, you can use an electromagnetic accelerator, a railgun or mass driver. Basically, you don't need to use rockets to do AI data centers into deep space from the Moon. You can literally just shoot them like a railgun type of thing. And you can manufacture the solar and the radiators, solar power and radiators on the Moon from Moon materials.
Read that again slowly, because there are 3 separate claims stacked inside it. 1. No atmosphere means nothing to push through. No air resistance at all. Put those together and you can throw things off the Moon with electricity instead of fuel. That is the railgun, not a weapon. A launch rail that shoots computers into deep space. 3, and this is the strangest one, build the solar panels and radiators there, out of Moon rock. Because the moment you stop launching mass from Earth, the cost stops mattering.
That would allow scaling potentially to beyond 1,000 terawatts a year, which is a truly staggering number. Like, I think we can do 1,000, I think we can do probably somewhere around 1 terawatt per year of AI space compute from Earth, but we can do 1,000 terawatts or more from the Moon.
1 terawatt a year launching from Earth. 1,000 terawatts a year launching from the Moon. For scale, the entire United States runs on half a terawatt. He is describing adding 2,000 Americas of power every year off-world. That is the vision. Now, the honest part. Today, 1 hour of that computing costs $8.64 in orbit. The identical hour on the ground costs $2.37. And in vacuum, you cannot blow air over a hot chip. There is no air. Heat only leaves by radiating away. One high-end chip needs roughly 1.5 square meters of radiator to stay cool. Then the traffic problem. 1 million satellites is 100 times everything up there now. And the filing that started all of it still contains no schedule and no price. SpaceX went public on June 12th. It priced at $135. It closed its first day at $161, up 19%, around $2 trillion. 8 days after that roadshow call, the Sun answer became something shareholders own. So here is what the June answer actually was. It was not a ramble. Diamond asked, why go public? And the Sun was the answer. You cannot self-fund 1 million satellites out of cash flow. That is why the company is on the market. 3 things in this story are already real, with dates attached. 1 thing is still only a sentence spoken to investors on a video call. A railgun on the Moon, firing data centers into the dark. The distance between those 2 lists is what the market is now pricing. This time, the deadline is not his. It is written into the electricity bill of every data center on Earth. If he is right, the AI race stops being a fight over chips or even over power plants. It becomes a fight over who gets to the sunlight first.